5 racks. 5 racks. 5 racks? That's a lot of racks. 5 racks. 5 bands. Bro, 5,000 miles. 5K. When I say 5K, and when they say 5K, we're not talking about the same 5K. When I say 5G, and they say 5G, we're not talking about the same 5G. You're talking about some phone speed. I'm talking about some mileage. Man, they said I was gonna get injured. They said the mileage was too high. They said it would take me years to run sub 240. That's what they told me in April. Guess what? Attack silently, maneuver righteously. 5 racks. Wait till I get my mileage right. Ooh. We got 10 miles to go. We're at 49.90. Consistency. This was my biggest goal all year. I didn't talk about it. I didn't scream and shout about it. I didn't mention it one time. But you know what I did? I ran dang near every single day. Attack silently, maneuver righteously. We got 9 miles to go now. Five bands. That first mile was for everyone inside my house right now. This next mile is for the real sickos. It's easy to have a goal. It's easy to have a dream. Everybody has a dream. It's even easy to make a plan. What's slightly harder, not a lot harder, is doing something manageable every day. That's why I drop videos daily. That's why I run almost every day. That's the best way to get closer to our dreams and our goals. Do something manageable every day. It's not, we don't need to have any crazy working 20-hour days to get where we need to be. And it's a lot easier to have 3 20-hour days in a row and then quit than it is to do something, one thing for 30 minutes every day for a year. Consistency. You gotta love the process. This is the first thing I've learned this year. If you have a goal, you gotta love the process to get there. A lot of people want to make a lot of money on Wall Street. Guess what? Not a lot of people can tolerate those 20-hour days being put through the meat grinder, sitting there till 7 p.m. when the managing director drops some work on your desk and you don't have to be in the office till 3 a.m. grinding it out. All my friends went and did that. I did not after college because I knew I couldn't handle that. That was not my path. If you want to be successful, you have to love the path and the process. It's not about a dang passion. And it's not about the promise of profit. It's about how committed you can be every single day to the minutia of the work, the minutia. It's a word for you. Minutia. What does that mean? The tedium. A lot of miles this year. A lot of them were tedious. A lot of them felt like minutia. That's the work. Here's the other thing about having a goal and a dream. A lot of people say, why are you running 5,000 miles a year? You're not a pro. No, I'm not, but guess what? I'm making my own path. I'm a pro at what I do, which is putting up mileage, motivating people to get out there and get after it. I have a dang battery in my back. Man, if you want to be great, you have to turn yourself into the world's biggest supervillain. And you know who I'm coming after? I'm the biggest supervillain, and I'm coming after depression, obesity, and laziness. And leading the mileage revolution is evil, is dark, and we're coming. Depression, bang. Obesity, bang. Laziness, eradicated. The only BMW I care about is building mileage weekly. And that was mile 2, 8 more to go. This next one's for Kobe. RIP Kobe. It's the mileage mentality. The Mamba mileage mentality. Nobody's gonna outwork us. No. A lot of people want to work smart. And a lot of people want to work smart. A lot of people want to find AI tools to take the work off their plate. A lot of people want to find an easy way to do things. I bet. Hey, bet. You use AI tools. All good. Find optimizations. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna work hard. I'm gonna work hard. If I'm out here, I'm gonna work hard. Because putting in the work, actually working. When I say putting in the work, I mean labor. Mental labor, physical labor, emotional labor. That's how we learn. There's no dang AI that can run the miles for you. That's why I love running. 5 racks, 8 more to go. Honestly, my lower back kind of hurts and I'm tired. And guess what? If you want to be great at endurance running or anything else, when we have what's called fatigue in this line of work, when we have fatigue, fatigue is French for tired. Fatigue. When you have fatigue, that's when you push through. That's when you build. Again, man, think about all those kids who go into investment banking. Who are the ones who make it? It's the ones who can consistently push through at a high level to moderate level of fatigue. And most of the time in running, if you want to be a great endurance athlete, we're not going deep into the pain cave. We're not going to have leg burning, long churning workouts multiple times a week. But we do need to sustain a moderate level of mileage and a moderate level of fatigue on a weekly basis. If you want to be great at anything, you have to push through the mid. The ones who make it push through the mid. It's easy. It's easy to go deep in the pain cave once a month. But can you hang out with the fatigue faction every single week? Bang. Well, 7 more to go. This one is for those 20-mile long runs. It's the building block of mileage. We went 20, 45 plus times this year. Every weekend except before and after my 2 marathons. Depression, demolished. Obesity, obliterated. Laziness, lacerated. Lacerated. Don't play with me. It's the mileage supervillain. Let's give it up for Rudolph one more time. Aerobic sicko putting in work. Thank you, Rudolph. Mile 4, 6 to go. That's 4,994 down. And this next one is for everyone like that who show me love. Random people on the street. People in the Supwell app, people in the community, everyone who DM me. After Chicago, the highest of highs, after low points, low workouts, you guys see, I put everything out there, all my runs out there this year. The people who have been with us since 2023, Jason Rams, man, and all the people who came on board this year, Jared, Kat, Katrina, I could go on and on and on. I gotta name everybody on the app. Michael E, out in Japan, putting in work. Everybody who's inspired by the message and shown love, not just to me, but to everyone in the Supwell community. These miles aren't about me. I'm just a vessel for the mileage. I'm a vessel for the, someone called me an ambassador. I think that's the perfect word. I'm the ambassador for mileage. That's really it. And so everyone else, the fellow ambassadors of mileage and vibes, thank you. Thank you for spreading the good word of mileage. 6 more to go, baby. And there's no diploma. There's no year-end bonus. There's no boxed up gift with shiny wrapping paper and a perfectly manicured bow when you reach your year-end mileage goal. But you know what's better than all of that? Accomplishing a personal goal. There's no money. There's no object that can make us happy and that can make us fulfilled and that can make me feel like I did what I needed to do. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show them. Who said that? Kenny. Kenny said that. Sometimes you have to pop out and show them. Sometimes you gotta pop out and show yourself. It's not about them. It's about me. It's about you. What's your goal? That's why there's no diploma for this. It's not Barack Obama's goal to run 5,000 miles. It's not Lenny Kravitz's goal, just naming random people. to run 5,000 miles. And that's why it's a sweet goal. We got 5 more to go. That was mile 5. This next mile is for Arthur Lydiard, RIP, legend in the mileage game, mileage pioneer, putting in work in the 20th century. The true mileage OG, RIP Artie. I always hated that I could never stick with something. I always petered out at the end. I always quit. I always gave up. I always wanted to start a company, do different creative adventures. I could never stick with anything. I always gave up. I've been able to stick with running. And 5,000 miles in a year, that is the ultimate reward of sticking with something. No one is ever going to be able to take this away. And it's purely for myself. And showing myself what consistency can do. I mean, there's a lot of labels we like to put on people now, different letters to say what's wrong with ourselves. Guess what, man? Everyone has innate strengths. Everyone. And it's about tapping into those strengths. And for me, I learned I can grind it out daily with a moderate amount of fatigue and stick to something that I personally find valuable. Not what society finds valuable. Not because somebody's parents had that job or somebody else thought it was cool. Because I set a goal. And that's not selfishness. There's a difference between selfishness and self-awareness. And of course, there's some elements of selfishness to put up 5 racks in 1 year. You have to be selfish if you want to accomplish some goals. It's a topic for another video, though. And I've talked about it. Ruthless prioritization. That's another thing. If you want to put up big numbers or hit an ambitious goal, you have to cut everything out of your life. That's not going to help you reach that goal. I don't really watch sports. I don't drink alcohol. I don't have friends. The mileage is my best friend. You can tell, you think I'm joking. I'm not joking. I spent 600 hours this year with mileage. It's not a game. You have to pour yourself into something if you want to be great. And saying it out loud, it sounds like an ego-driven thing to say. I want to be great. But why is that? Is it better to say, I want to be average? Is that a better thing to say? And being great to me isn't about the money. It's not about the status. It's about being the best that I can personally be. Up your best that I could personally be at one thing. And that's what's beautiful about the annual mileage goal for me. Yeah, I was blessed with certain genetics. I was blessed with this year a setup where I'm working a job. I don't have to drive to the office. I work from home. I'm blessed with good health. Guess what? A lot of people have good genes. A lot of people don't have a commute to the office. But not everyone's putting up 5 racks because that's not their goal. We got to chase our goal, our dream. Mile 6, 4 to go. This next one is for Charli, holding it down since 2017. Since 2017, that's before a lot of these boys were even born. That's the day one. That's the real OG. He's the GOAT. It's not all sunshine and aerobic mileage. Bang! Watch died, or GoPro died, but guess what? The show goes on. That's 5K right there. 10 miles, 6 hundredths, 7:16 pace. I think I ended the last mile slower. I didn't realize that was 7:16 average pace. My last mile was a 7:24. I wasn't really checking the watch at all. But guess what? If you want to be eventually great, you got to be consistently mid. Look at that beautifully mid run. 10 miles, 7:16 pace. Nothing special. That's how we're stacking 5 racks. I don't have time. I'm going to teleport down there. People always ask me, how do you have time to do everything? Because I can teleport. Watch this. Bang. All right, let's close it out. 3 things I learned. 3 things that you can apply to your training. High mileage, right? First thing, I talked about this on the run, but you have to love the process or endure the process. You have to have the ability to tolerate the process to get to a goal. And thinking of running, if you want to run a 3:30 marathon and you're currently running a 4:30 marathon, it is super possible to do that, but you have to love the process. And speaking for me, myself, man, I've had so many things that I've tried in my short career and my short young adulthood that I have tried and quit or failed, or didn't work, didn't click, because for me personally, I just never loved the process. I couldn't tolerate it. It was like sitting in school, man. I absolutely hated school. I hated it. There's some things I liked, like English class. That was fun. I could bang out papers overnight. But for the most part, man, I hated the classroom setting. I was not a good student. I went to some good schools. I have no idea how. I think my mom helped me put me in the right place. But man, I just couldn't tolerate it. And similar with some jobs I've had, no matter how much money they were paying me. Man, the highest paying job I ever had is not actually the job I have now. It was a job that I was terrible at. I should have been good at it, but I was terrible at it because it wasn't the right environment. So to be successful at anything, what I have learned is I have to put myself in a position where my strengths can shine. And with running, with endurance training, we have to tolerate a high amount of fatigue, a moderate amount of grinding daily. This is another thing I'll say, man. It's not everyone runs every day. Not everyone needs to run every day. Not everyone should run every day. But I highly recommend doing something every day to get where you need to be. If you don't want to run every day and your goal is to run a faster marathon or to run a marathon or to run a 5K, walk. Go to the gym. Do something to cultivate a habit of fitness, a culture of fitness. So that's the first thing, man. You have to be able to at least tolerate, endure, if not love the process to get to your goal. And I gosh dang love the mileage. I'm a fiend for the mileage. So it's not a thing to me to come out here, drop 20-mile double days, drop 20-mile long runs. I love it. This gives my life meaning. It brings me joy. And if you can find, it's the Venn diagram of something that gives you meaning, something that you can tolerate doing every day, that's what they call ikigai. I learned that from the Blue Zones book, ikigai, something that gives you purpose. You pop out of bed every day and say, this is what I want to do. But guess what? That doesn't mean it's any easier to pop out of bed on bad days. That doesn't mean that we don't have bad days. You know how many bad days I've had? And I wake up, it's not healthy, but I wake up every morning, I fire up the YouTube app, and I look at the metrics. If the video isn't performing well, it puts me in a bad headspace, and that's not good. It's not a good thing to do. This is why I don't check any apps before my long run, because I want to be able to curate the vibe. But guess what? Even on those bad days, even if I don't check the metrics or the apps, we might still just be in a bad mood, right? Say something happened yesterday at work that puts us in a bad mood. What are we going to do? Are we going to sit, pout, cry tears into our oat yogurt? I don't even like oat. I don't even like yogurt. I don't eat yogurt. Is Weir Reevesy? He's the only one. Reevesy crushes yogurt, dairy yogurt. Mace doesn't like yogurt either. Yeah, are we gonna sit there crying into our sourdough English muffin? Or are we gonna put our steel wool socks on, our mileage shirt, lace up our Max Cushion Gang shoes, and go rip? Go tear up the tarmac. That's what I'm gonna do. So good days, bad days, we have to commit to the work. And if you can find something that you can commit to that gives you purpose, man, that's a beautiful thing. That's the only reason I'm able to run 5,000 miles this year. I committed to it, and I love it. Second thing, injuries. This is a big one. I want to do multiple videos on this to get the word out. Someone the other day said, high mileage causes injuries. And it got the gears turning. And I was thinking, logically, the more that you run, the more number of chances you have to get a running injury. But at the same time, the more you run, the stronger you get. So the chances of getting an injury go down. And then I was thinking, think of a 16-year-old who's learned how to drive and a 46-year-old parent who's been driving for the past 30 years. Which one of them, getting on an on-ramp on the highway, merging into the center lane, which one is more likely to get into an accident in that moment? Which one? The 16-year-old who's never been on the highway, or the 46-year-old who's been on the highway thousands of times? Which one's more likely to get into an accident in that moment? And then think, which one of them is more likely to have been in an accident on the highway, or maybe even multiple accidents on the highway in their life? The 46-year-old parent who's been driving 30 years, or the 16-year-old who just learned how to drive? Which one of them is more likely to have been in an accident? I'm gonna have to spell it out to you. There's no rhetorical questions on YouTube, because then you leave things up to people to misconstrue them. The parent is more likely to have been in an accident because they've been driving for 30 years. They had more chances to get into an accident. I've been in an accident. I think I've technically been in 2 accidents. I've been driving for over 10 years. I backed into somebody in a parking lot. I think that's the only accident, actually. The first year I was learning how to drive, I backed into somebody in a parking lot. I don't think I've been in an accident since then. Charli was been in an accident 2 years ago. She actually totaled my Jeep. That was a sad moment. If you've been driving for 30 years, you're more likely to have been in an accident. But if you're a brand new driver, you're more likely in that moment because you don't have the experience, you don't have the awareness, you're nervous, you're more likely to get into an accident because you haven't developed the skill of driving. And it's the same thing with running. The more we run, the stronger we get. And I had 0 injuries this year where I had to take more than 1 day off from running. I had 4 or 5 times this year where I felt super banged up and maybe I skipped the afternoon run or I took 1 day off to be cautious. I don't know if I would call that an injury or discomfort, but probably 4 or 5 times this year where something just didn't feel right. It was foot, 2 times this year in the summer. I think it was my left foot and then my right foot was hurting. Guess what? Took 1 day off, cut the mileage down, and it was gone. Did the right things to get myself back. A few weeks ago, my calf was hurting. My left calf felt weird from a speed workout, actually. And a lot of the time, it's speed or increasing mileage too quickly that's gonna get us injured. So of course, the more that we run, the more number of chances there are for us to get a running-related injury. It's like saying the whole high mileage causes injuries. You know what it's like saying? Eating vegetables causes choking. The more that vegetables that you eat, the higher chance you have of choking. That's true. That is true. So what should we do? Should we get all our calories injected straight into our small intestine? This is the type of thinking that really just drives me crazy. The other part about it is, if you want to be great at running, these minor injuries, and not major injuries, but minor injuries and discomfort, it's part of the game. I've said this so many times. Look at any great athlete. They get injured. Look at who's the best athlete in the NFL right now. Patrick Mahomes. Then you have a knee injury. Something I haven't kept up that much this year. Oh, I see Charli turning the light of the car on. Great athletes get injured. You cannot find one great athlete who hasn't been injured. Now, I'm not training to compete in the Olympics or anything. I'm training to be consistent and to do what I do on the channel and for the love of the game. But man, if you run 5,000 miles per year, of course we're going to get banged up. And I get banged up once every few months. I have something that causes me to take maybe 1 day off.
But it's a skill. It's another skill. I'm looking up there to see what's going on. Oh, she's loading the car. I got to wrap it up, so go shower. We're going to go on a hike. It's a skill to be able to know when to push and to pull. High mileage does not cause injuries. Doing speed work that we're not capable of, pushing it too much too soon causes injuries. But slowly ramping over time like I've done, and if you look at my graph, I'll see if I can find it, but my annual graph, if not, I'll just tell you. Every year for the past 5 years, I've increased my annual mileage. That is the best way to prevent injuries from a higher load, is by slowly increasing that load. It's like saying going to the gym causes injuries or bench press causes injuries. No. If you're going in there and bench pressing the bar 10 times when you're capable of bench pressing 375 pounds for a single rep, the chances of you getting injured on that barbell warm up are so low. It's the same thing with running. Now, if I'm running 5 miles per week and then I decide, oh, I watched this one video about running 100 miles a week, I'm going to try to run 100 miles next week. Of course you're going to get injured. But if you slowly work up to that, I didn't just pop out of bed and run 100 miles. First, I hung out at 80 miles for almost a year, or maybe 6 months. 80 miles was my max, and then I ramped to 100. So injuries and high mileage do not have to go hand in hand, but getting minor discomfort or even major discomfort, occasional injuries, of course. And I guarantee you I will get an injury. This is not even a knock on wood. It's so taboo to talk about injuries. I guarantee you I'm going to get injured at some point for more than one day. That is part of this game. I'm okay with that. That's part of the sport of running. We can't be scared of injuries. It's part of it. It's part of it. So that's the second thing. Third thing, man, this is what I was going to say. I didn't know how I was going to feel. Maybe I'm going to be emotional 5,000 miles. No. The third thing I learned, it doesn't change a thing. These goals, they don't change a thing, because guess what? Today's December 30th, tomorrow's December 31st, New Year resets, mileage gets wiped away, but it's not even that. Every single day, I've committed to doing a YouTube video every day. I'm committing to that again for 2025. That's not changing. And that's the mentality we have here. We put in the work daily. And if I weren't putting in the work daily on YouTube and running, it would be something else. This is a lifestyle. This is me. So it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I'm going to be doing this. I don't feel different at all. If anything, I feel fired up. I feel I have an even bigger battery in my back to go after there and to be a better version of myself next year. Putting up the best training programs in the game for you all. Making sure the Supwell app is the best buy, sell, and trade marketplace and the best community for you all. Making sure we have the most fire merch. Man, 5,000 miles changes nothing. It just proves to myself what I'm capable of and wanted to do more for the hobby jogger community, man. So I'm fired up. It's a little modded out Honda. It's like a New Balance Rebel V4 with a spoiler. I'm fired up to get better. Up your best. That's the mentality. 5,000 miles, 2,000 miles, 1,000 miles, 500 miles. All that matters is that we commit to get better. I'm going to commit to be better. I'm going to commit to keep it more positive. I'm going to commit to be my best. I'm going to commit to bringing better insights on the channel, putting up training programs to translate what I've done for you all, putting more food on the table for my family, providing. By the way, my watch died those last 3 miles. This is the last thing I'll say. Were for Mason, Reevesy, and Roni. This is what I was going to say out there. When Mason was born, that's when I decided to, hey, I need to leave. I was 22. I just graduated college. We need to get out of New York. I need to remove myself from being around my college friends and doing college things. I need to become a real man. When Reevesy was born, 2 years later, that's when I stopped drinking. I said, I want to change something drastic to force myself to be better and to lock in and to find what that next thing is. And that's when I went even harder on the running in that same year, 2022. That's when I ran my first marathon. That's when I started developing this affinity for running. And when Roni was born, that was this year, January 31st, 2024. That's when I really locked in with the channel. Yeah, we were doing the daily before, but that's when I did one in the vlog style. I talked about this in the Hoka CLOX1 best of video. That's when I developed this dial. That's when I really locked in and committed. So each one of these kids, man, they're awesome kids. And they've also forced me to be a better person and to lock in and to go harder. I think that's all I have for you guys today. 5,000 miles, man. Nobody can take this one from me. This is a good one, and I don't want to brush it off and say clock resets 100%. I do want to enjoy it because that's consistency. That's a consistency goal. That's a didn't quit goal, and we don't quit here. I'm not the smartest. I'm not the most creative. I'm not the funniest. I'm not the best at editing, but guess what? I'm the best at not quitting. So keep putting in that work daily. Hobby Jogger Nation, let's go. Sup, well, slugs. I'm fired up. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow, and then tomorrow with another show. Oh yeah, sign up for the Supwell app. I forgot to say this. I always forget to say it. We're doing a daily trainer giveaway. I'm going to close it at the end of this week. If you want a new daily trainer, any brand, any size, sign up for the Supwell app. Find the post that says daily trainer giveaway. Put your favorite 2024 training memory and your training goals for 2025, and you can be entered to win. I'm going to pick a few people. Just go do it. It's easy. And then you also get the best community out there. All right. I'll see you guys.